The tragedy of Colin Hendry and how he lives is sad. This is the story of how a football legend lost everything. Colin Hendry was once Scotland's pride. He captained his country at the 1998 World Cup. He helped Blackburn Rovers win the Premier League in 1995. Fans loved him. He was strong and brave on the pitch. For 20 years, he was one of the best defenders in British football. But behind the glory, Colin had a happy family life. He was married to Denise. They had 4 children together. Regan, Kyle, Callum and Neve were their world. Denise was beautiful inside and out, Colin would say. She supported him through his entire career. Life seemed perfect for the Hendry family. Then everything changed in April 2002. Denise wanted to get her figure back after having her 4th child. She booked a simple tummy tuck at a private hospital in Preston. It was meant to be routine surgery. Nothing could have prepared them for what happened next. The surgery went horribly wrong. The surgeon made 9 punctures to her bowel and colon. Denise got severe blood poisoning. Her organs started failing. Her heart stopped for 4 minutes. Doctors gave her only a 10% chance of survival. Denise spent 3 months in hospital fighting for her life. Colin stayed by her side every day, but this was just the beginning of their nightmare. For 7 long years, Denise battled health problems from that botched surgery. She needed countless operations to try and fix the damage. The surgeon who hurt Denise was called Gustaf Aniansson. He knew he had made terrible mistakes. He stopped practicing medicine in Britain. He removed himself from the medical register. The family won a 6-figure settlement in 2006, but no amount of money could give Denise her health back. In 2009, Denise needed more surgery. She went to Salford Royal Hospital for 11 weeks. Colin hoped this would finally fix everything. Instead, she caught a deadly infection. On July 10, 2009, Denise died. She was only 43 years old. The infection was meningitis. After 7 years of fighting, she was gone. Colin was broken. He had lost the love of his life. His children had lost their mother. The pain was too much to bear. Colin started drinking heavily to numb the hurt. He also turned to gambling. He thought these things would help him forget. Instead, they made everything worse. Colin admitted later that he drank quite a lot initially. He gambled too, though not as badly as the papers said. But even small bets became big problems. The grief pushed him into what he called a destructive cycle. Every loss made him bet more. Every drink made him want another. The gambling became serious quickly. Colin owed money to Spreadex, an online betting company. His debts were growing fast, but his problems had started even before Denise died. In January 2009, 5 months before she passed away, Colin told his friend Hector McFarlane that his cash flow was 0. The vultures were circling, he said. Colin started borrowing money from everyone he knew. He owed £65,000 to his late father's estate. His brother lent him £35,000. Even Denise's parents gave him £10,000. But his biggest debt was to Hector and Williamina McFarlane. These close friends lent him £85,000. They had even helped carry Denise's coffin at her funeral. Colin asked the McFarlanes to keep the loan secret from Denise. He did not want to worry her while she was sick. This shows how much pressure he was under. He was trying to protect his dying wife while his world fell apart. Things got worse after Denise died. Colin tried to arrange an individual voluntary arrangement to manage his debts. This would have let him pay back creditors over time. But over half of his creditors said no. They wanted their money back in full. On June 23, 2010, Colin Hendry was declared bankrupt. Spreadex, the betting company, had started the proceedings. His total debt was £2.2 million. The biggest creditor was HM Revenue and Customs. He owed them £1.3 million in taxes. Colin had to sell his beautiful home in Lytham, Lancashire. It was worth £1.7 million and was a Grade 2 listed mansion. But after paying the mortgages and secured loans, there was almost nothing left for other creditors. When Colin was discharged from bankruptcy in July 2011, he only had to pay back £36,000. This was less than 2% of his total debt. He would pay £1,000 per month for 3 years. Many creditors were furious. Hector McFarlane would only get back £1,800 of his £95,000 loan. The unpaid debt destroyed Colin's friendship with the McFarlanes. Hector was so angry he reported Colin to the police for fraud. He thought Colin had borrowed money knowing he would go bankrupt. But the police said it was a civil matter. They would not get involved. The friendship that had survived decades was over. Worse was still to come. In June 2012, Colin was at an Italian restaurant in Lytham with his daughter Regan. Hector McFarlane saw them there. He was furious that Colin seemed to be living well while owing him money. Hector lost his temper completely. He punched Regan, who was 24 years old, knocking her to the floor. Then he attacked Colin, raining several blows on his back. He shouted, "Where is my money?" using very bad language. The whole attack was caught on security cameras. Hector McFarlane, who was 64, had to go to court. He pleaded guilty to assaulting both Colin and Regan. He was fined and had to pay costs totalling £1,026. He paid £50 compensation to Regan and £100 to Colin. His wife Williamina was also fined for threatening Regan. Colin's problems were far from over. On February 21, 2015, police stopped him for drink driving. His breath test showed 63 micrograms of alcohol per 100 millilitres of breath. The legal limit is only 35 micrograms. He was nearly twice over the limit. Colin tried to fight the charge at first. He said there were problems with the breath test readings, but he eventually gave up the legal challenge. On April 22, 2015, he was banned from driving for 17 months. He also got a £110 fine, £200 in court costs, and a £20 victim surcharge. Around this time, Colin was dating a beautician called Sarah Kinder. Their relationship ended in early March 2015, but Colin could not accept it was over. For 2 months, he harassed Sarah. He sent her unwanted text messages and emails. Sometimes he sent 10 messages in one day. Colin also made uninvited visits to Sarah's home. Twice he threw stones at her bedroom window to get her attention. His behaviour only stopped when police arrested him on April 18, 2015. He was charged with harassment and common assault. Colin pleaded guilty to the harassment charge. Sarah later withdrew her statement about the assault, so that charge was dropped. But the harassment conviction was serious enough. On August 20, 2015, Colin was sentenced to a 12-month community order. He had to do 100 hours of unpaid work. The judge had warned Colin he could go to prison. His lawyer said Colin was determined that this case would mark the end of what could be called a blip. He promised never to break the law again. These legal troubles destroyed Colin's reputation completely. He went from being a national football hero to a man associated with scandal and crime. The newspapers reported every detail of his downfall. Fans who once cheered him now read about his arrests and court cases. But Colin's story might be more complicated than it first appears. He later claimed that bad financial advice had caused his bankruptcy. A company called Kingsbridge Asset Management had advised him on investments. The same company had advised other famous footballers like Wayne Rooney and Rio Ferdinand. Many of Kingsbridge's investment schemes turned sour. Film and property investments led to huge tax bills for their clients. Several former Kingsbridge employees were later arrested for conspiracy to commit fraud. The company was investigated by police. Colin said he had been badly served by his financial advisors. He put all his trust in people who gave him terrible advice. He wanted compensation if fraud was proven. This suggests that while Colin made personal mistakes, he may also have been a victim of professional wrongdoing. Despite everything, Colin has tried to rebuild his life. He has worked as a football coach and pundit for ESPN. He openly admits he made mistakes, but says he is not a bad person. Most people make mistakes in their lives, he points out. Some people still feel sorry for Colin. They understand that losing Denise was a tragedy that would destroy anyone. One supporter said this was a tragedy for Colin and his family. We can only imagine what he went through. He lost his greatest asset when Denise died. We can all learn from this story. Colin Hendry's fall from grace shows how quickly life can change. He was once a hero to millions of football fans, but personal tragedy, poor choices, and possibly bad advice combined to destroy everything he had built. His story is a warning about how grief can lead to destructive behaviour. It also shows how professional athletes can be vulnerable when their careers end. The man who once captained Scotland now lives a much quieter life. He has expressed determination to never break the law again. Whether he can truly rebuild remains to be seen, but his story will always be remembered as one of football's most tragic falls from grace. From Premier League winner to bankruptcy and court appearances, Colin Hendry's life after tragedy has indeed been very sad.